Hello and welcome to the digital video news bulletin of datelinegujaratnews.com. datelinegujaratnews.com. That's the URL of our website. You can visit our website and see as to what is happening across the world, the kind of news we highlight from across the world. So what's really buzzing or what's really happening in the world of news, and what are the news today across the world? The news headlines in the world media are largely dominated by the visit of Chinese President Xi Jinping to Russia. And at such a time where ICC has issued a warrant against Putin, and equally Kremlin has issued a warrant against the ICC prosecutor. So I think Kremlin and ICC both are playing a warrant game. And amidst that, China has said that how China and Russia will work together to create a multipolar world. But a stern warning comes from US saying that you should not be fooled by Xi's proposals. What's happening on the diplomacy front, God only knows. And what's happening on the banking cabal collapse, how the bank deal is creating political rift mainly in Switzerland, because UBS is buying Credit Suisse, and it is impacting and burning lots of investors and kind of Swiss stability. That's the opinion which is being built around in the world media and mainly in the European media. Of course, the protest call by the EFF in South Africa, the labor body, is being spread across African media outlets. That's the news. And while we talk of Asia, North Korea, Kim Jong's call for nuke attack preparedness on US is the buzzword. Australian soldier has been arrested and he has been charged with the war crimes in Afghanistan. I mean, he had indulged himself into some war crimes in Afghanistan and he has been charged with that. While we talk of the Asian subcontinent, internet ban in India, and arrest of the Sikh separatist leader, mainly, I mean, Waris Punjab, then associated kind of having a kind of lineage towards a separate Khalistan, Amrutpal Singh. The news is all about his arrest, which is in the world headlines. And arrest of Imran Khan protesters. I mean, Imran Khan supporters, sorry, not protesters, but arrest of Imran supporters in Pakistan is also a part of headlines from the Asia. And Japan is closely monitoring the ICC probe on Russia, and India has stopped. What India has stopped is interesting. There has been a report from the South Asian subcontinent, which says that India has stopped in asking the data by the government from the social media platforms and the phone companies. So government is requesting your data, it's monitoring your data. Just be careful. And what happens apart from that is that Little India, some decade-old municipal quarters which are there in Little India and Singapore, they'll be used for co-living space. A woman backpacker has kind of alarmed and she has alleged that the cameras are filming the travelers mainly in the dorms, the cheap dorms where backpackers usually stay. Middle East is buzzing with activities and action, because there is a news that now after Putin, it could be ex-Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, who could be on an ICC list. If Netanyahu gets arrested, I mean, you can understand what it means. And a Kuwaiti oil company has declared emergency after the oil spill which surfaced on the land. So they have kind of kept a closed area and they've said that it's emergency, please don't travel from this area. After the kind of repatching of the Saudi and Iranian diplomacy, now a kind of diplomacy freshness is being on cards, is being seen between Iran and Jordan. And Iran and Iraq, they have linked a kind of pact to strengthen and tighten their border security. Amidst all, what's the news? Turkey's unmanned combat aerial vehicle has surfaced. Huge drone, you can call it. And in the UBS Credit Suisse deal, Saudis, Qataris and Norwegians, they are likely to feel the pinch of loss. They're likely to lose their money. What's happening in the African subcontinent? In African subcontinent, good news comes from Nigeria. State government of Osun has recruited 17,000 people. For what? For conducting census of 2023. Imagine if you do that in India, how many people will get a job across the states in India, across the India. So I think instead of using the teachers and bankers and all these government servants for such a job, government should do some temporary kind of gig kind of working availability for such people who are looking for job and engage them into census counting. Following the attack of by the extremist forces in Central African Republic, on the Chinese workers in the China-owned gold mine where Chinese workers died. China has issued travel alerts for citizens traveling to Africa, mainly Nigeria and Central African Republic. So these are the kind of travel alerts which have been issued, and Tanzanian government is closely monitoring the mysterious disease which has appeared in Kagera. So this mysterious disease they are closely monitoring. People are getting infected due to this, so don't know what's really happening. And a person has been arrested on US airport for smuggling snails, live snails, 6 snails where he was smuggling in some bag, and he was carrying that, and that's where he has been arrested. The first aid from the UK has reached to Malawi flood victims. Malawi had come across appealing the world to come to save as a flood had damaged the country to a larger extent. What's happening in Europe? The auditors from the European Union will take the first look at Europe's artificial intelligence shortfall. I can understand intelligence shortfall, but artificial intelligence shortfall. And Greenpeace smelled some candles in the French imports of uranium from Russia. So something is going on. And apart from that, what has happened is that Turkey has put a carpet ban on refueling the Russian airline aircrafts on its airports. And equally, the UN has revised the targets. It has said, "Ye dil mange more" as far as the targets to combat the climate change is concerned. So Europe and US targets have been revised, the EU and US targets. And Russian courts have frozen all the assets of Volkswagen. So you cannot sell or buy anything, a showroom or a Russian car plant or something which is owned by Volkswagen. And several news articles and opinion pieces have appeared in European media on the UBS Credit Suisse deal, mainly detailing as to how employees are shocked because they feel that now their jobs would be at a loss. Equally, investors are also worried that how the recalibration of the shares and everything would take place. And what kind of, is this deal a kind of real deal, or it's a kind of blow to a Swiss stability and Swiss economy? That's the kind of opinion piece in the European media, mainly from the Switzerland. Apart from that, what's happening in the American subcontinent? The American subcontinent, let's start with Canada. Canadian government has said that they have lost $15 billion into an ongoing pipeline project for oil transfer and gas transfer, which the cost has risen, and because of that, the $15 billion loss has been booked. Equally, the future of retail in Canada is under the question mark because with the Nordstrom given the nod for liquidation sale by the courts, it's one of the retail chains, one of the largest retail chains in Canada. So what could be the future of retail now in Canada is a big question mark. And going ahead, the Talon Outdoor Publicity Unit of Canada, which has bought out a North American company, Novus, and this will help them kind of increase their footprints in northern Canada. Canadian company Swiss Water has reported a robust 2022 sales of water, business of water, pani ka paisa, that's how it is. And good news, Canadian government has has advertised several job openings where they've invited even Indians to apply for the jobs. So Canada is giving jobs now to Indians. Well, in a very interesting development, a group of protesters has marched in the Canadian streets demanding that the closed McDonalds should be reopened again. This is a very interesting and a kind of a different piece because of McDonald's, which was a kind of hangout for the cheap food and people used to fun around and enjoy their time. There somebody came and took out a baby raccoon and put it on a table, and since then that joint, the McDonald's did not renew the lease, and so they are telling them no, they should start again. They are marching over there. Here so many restaurants closed, nobody marches saying that the restaurant should be started again. It's an interesting story. Rare solar storms which have triggered a kind of high northern lights in Canadian landscape, and that's the climate change phenomena, you can call it. Equally, the global banks have announced that they will be in joint action, in joint nexus as far as the dollars flow is continued, and they'll continue flowing the dollars. Bad news, Amazon has X'd 9,000 more jobs. Before 1 month, they had X'd so many jobs, and now 9,000 more. Recession, I tell you. Apart from that, Wyoming becomes the first state to prohibit sale of abortion pills. And the US is going to provide a $350 million aid to Ukraine. And US is more serious now about the TikTok ban after China said that, you should not be aggressive on this. And what's happening in Caribbean archipelago? So in Caribbean archipelago, all women crew will be handling the Viva Aerobus 17th delivery. So 69 have already been delivered. Now this is the 17th delivery, so they'll be handling that. And the US travelers are warned about counterfeit pills in Mexico pharmacies. So counterfeit pills are being sold on Mexican pharmacies, and US has issued a kind of warning that be aware of these counterfeit pills. Nakli dawaiya. Indian porn star Mehul Choksi is off the Interpol's wanted list. His lawyer said that we have fear that he is being abducted or he might be kind of kidnapped. So that's where they have won, and he's off the Interpol watch list. Equally, a news comes from the business development. HapagLloyd has a shipping liner has increased their freight rates mainly for the services from Asia to Latin America and Latin America to Asia. So container prices have gone up if you are sending something through containers using HapagLloyd services. Caribbean universities are strategizing as to how to reduce the regional food import bill, and with 100% inflation in Argentina, Argentina's own companies are burning. They are telling it's hard to survive. So that's the scenario, that's the situation. What's happening in the playful Pacifics and the frozen polars? Scientists have discovered a missing continent after 375 years. One more continent after 375 years. Australia has imposed new sanctions on Iraq, but will deliver a test vehicle for US hypersonic research. Good news? Bad news together. Paleontologists have discovered a fossil of an enormously giant penguin in New Zealand. And the bad news from the media industry or the news vertical is that New Caledonia's only newspaper, daily newspaper, which ceases its publication after 52 years, after the commercial court accepted the company's request for its liquidation. So the scenario with the media, the traditional media, is a little bad. And what's happening in polars? A record-breaking electric car challenge from Antarctic to Arctic and Arctic to Antarctic is in news. You can just go and click this link and read what's this about, how they will travel with an electric car in the polars. And Mercedes-Benz has recently tested its long-haul battery vehicles in the polars, Arctics and Antarctics. That's some good piece of news. Equally, US soldiers are being armed with Arctic gas as the army gets serious about fighting in the cold. There was a news and there was a buzz that the NATO forces and the Russia and US will be combating for the resources in the Arctics and Antarctics, and probably this seems to be a kind of preparation for that. Equally, now, fantastic ruling ruled by a Supreme Court of Norway. It said that there was a fishing company which wanted rights to fish snow crabs. Snow crabs are this huge mammoth, and they said that no, you can't do that because it's a kind of part of ecosystem and the flora fauna of the Arctics and Antarctics and the polars, and these equally extended to somewhere to indirectly a kind of right on their mining and oil drilling rights also. As far as Willow Oil project is concerned for ConocoPhillips in Alaskan slope, the northern Alaskan slope, Alaskan natives worry about the traditional food chain, that once this project will come, will some impact, they'll do some drilling and some oil mechanism and everything, and that will hit the food chain. So the kind of non-vegetarian food they bank on, the fishes or the seals or the walrus or what all aquatic animals, the sea crabs, that might just move away. So that's the news from across the world. Do keep on doing our video news bulletin. Do keep on visiting our website, datelinegujaratnews.com. It's datelinegujaratnews.com, the URL of our website. Wishing you a good day, good night. Thank you.